Headline news on the challenges for startup visa applicants, the release of immigration officer notes in refusal applications on this edition of ImmPulse.
I'm Howard Greenberg.
Hi, I'm Naman Hamid.
Well, today, Naman, we're going to talk a little bit about notes, officers' notes, and who gets them and who doesn't.
Yeah, so this has been a pain point for a long time. If an immigration application is refused, whether it's a work permit or a visitor visa or immigration application, we as a representative and the client's very curious to understand what is the reason from the officer. The refusal letter is usually 2 or 3 sentences. And the key is to get the detailed officer notes, known as the GCMS notes. Typically takes at least 30 days. And one of the questions we've always asked is why aren't those notes released immediately to avoid the back and forth?
So I guess problem solved.
Not really. I was pretty excited when I saw the news release that the refusal rationale would be released.
Right.
But upon further review, we see it's just a rehashing of the same information in the original refusal letter.
The high-level notes have now been turned into paragraphs.
Right.
So the applicant really has to see the notes that are in the computer system
Right.
to understand whether they can action.
So in our practice, we would make a request for the GCMS notes. We
Right.
take a very thorough review.
Right.
And then we're in a better position to understand if there's confusion or is it a sound reason or is there a defect. In some instances, we find that even without receiving the notes, based on our preparation, it's a clear error. So time is of the essence. You have to make a decision based on the details, but it looks like GCMS notes are not going away.
No. They're going to get better as people complain,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Well, let's talk a little bit about case law. There's one case in our list of cases which I think warrants a discussion, a Mandamus case. How many months was the
The delay was
case?
52 months in
52
that
months.
case.
Doesn't necessarily mean 52 months is the trigger for the court. It depends on the type of case and what the historical processing time is of those
Correct.
cases. So, but I guess in any application process, 52 months sounds a little too
Right.
extreme.
We've seen, cases where published time was 24 months or 30 months. And unfortunately, most cases these days are exceeding that timeline. Clients are quite concerned about what the delay means to their business, what it means to their family. There's an emotional basis to maybe being reunited with a loved one, or you're trying to launch a business, transitioning over. We see articles on the startup visa
Oh,
program.
that was your way of going right to the next section of our
Right.
ImmPulse articles. The poor SUV applicant in Hamilton, Ontario, who just can't get any IRCC love, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
Meaning his application just sits there. And what's so unique about him? We see that every day in our applications and the large number of applications that are out there that have not been properly adjudicated yet. And they won't be for the near future.
Right. And in his situation, he had signed contracts with 3 or 4 different regions.
Right.
His product is in demand.
Right.
He's growing revenue,
Right.
but he's sitting here on a work permit and wanting to understand when he'll get his PR so he can grow his opportunity.
So these applications have to be finished.
Right.
Because they are the essence of the business program in the current, system. And so, the government's going to have to get to those cases quickly. And so that leads to the last topic I want to talk about, which is the immigration plans coming up for consultation and renewal. And that usually comes out in the last November of each year if Parliament is in session. And consultations have started, questionnaires have gone out. You might want to make any predictions about what this is going to look like for the next projected immigration program of 2026.
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting analysis with the new minister taking a role in trying to reconcile. We hear the province is very concerned.
Right.
In fact, in ImmPulse, there's some discussion in certain provinces that relied for critical infrastructure on the PNP. It's not there
Right.
anymore. So I would think there has to be some reconciliation of giving provinces more autonomy. We've seen a lot of news there. We've seen a little bit of opening on sponsorships, family class. You can't shut that down completely. But on the other hand, we see an argument that if you let in a lot of people who are older, there's a demand on healthcare. So I don't see that opening much.
That seems to be Alberta's concern.
Alberta's concern. And economic, I mean, we hear from employers regularly, we've seen it ourselves.
Yes.
that there are C-suite people in Canada that
Right.
cannot stabilize their permanent resident status.
Right.
So I think the changes in the air, how they're going to reconcile with the political wind, with pressure on the system, infrastructure problems, how far can they go? I think we're still limited in terms of the number. I think it's rebalancing the split between the different programs.
Well, I don't think we're going to see it for 2026, but I do think that the whole system is going to go through a massive reconsideration and redesign. It can't continue the way it is now.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, we're still one of the few countries with our doors relatively wide open.
Well,
So-
the demand is high. So we're going to have to find a solution to manage this inflow of interest in the different programs.
Okay, that's ImmPulse for this week.
Thank you.
As always, we look forward to your comments, to your questions. Please feel free to reach out.
What is it? Do you know the term?
It
There's a
would
term.
be officer's notes.
With respect to those files.
You know, we're not going to do this thing if you're going to snort.
Well, you start tucking
Yeah,
in
but
your-
Hello. Yeah, I'm sorry, we'll have to have a break a moment. I've got a little furry friend here who's having trouble filling out his immigration application.